Hello, hello. It is week 11, and we can consult our CAD calendar and we can scroll all the way down to the bottom as we are finishing up CAD here in ME250. So, as always, we're going to consult this CAD calendar to see what we're going to cover this week, and we're going to complete the SolidWorks 2018 Essential Training, and that means we're going to finish up with creating this engineering drawing of an assembly. So, I'm going to start by creating this exploded view of this assembly. This is a prior practice part, so we've already assembled it. Now I'm going to make an exploded view, which is kind of a disassembled view or disassembled state. Then we're going to throw it in a drawing, create these balloon callouts, and then throw in this small bill of materials. So first thing I'm going to do is jump over to the assembly. This is up on Blackboard, already made it and everything. We have made it before, so don't practice part. But first thing I'm going to do is make this exploded view, which is this kind of disassembled view of the assembly. So I'm going to go to the assembly tab, and then we have exploded view right here. And the exploded view is pretty self-explanatory in what it is and how to do it. Explode steps. You choose the part you want to move around and move it in one of the three axes, and it will go to position, and we can end up with a state that will show the parts somewhat disassembled. And again, this is all up to the user's discretion of what is legible for a person to read. Again, the goal is to be able to hand this off to someone and have them gain understanding of your final part. So this is a pretty simple view. It shows us all four parts and how they're gonna, or how they should go together. So I've got a good exploded view. I'm gonna go ahead and just accept it. And then I'm gonna go and create this drawing. So I'm gonna go to File, Make Drawing from Assembly. This won't pop up on your screen. This is because I already have done the practice part. So I'm just gonna say no. And then we've got this very familiar screen. And we have a different template for assemblies, which is up on Blackboard as well. So it's in my downloads folder. I'm going to go ahead and select it. And then this is all pretty familiar. We're going to go ahead and see our view palette over here. And for this exploded view, one of the really neat things I believe SolidWorks does is you're able to import the current view that it's in the assembly. So if I go to the part and move it around in this assembly view, I can create that exact same angle in my engineering drawing. So if I want to move it around just like this, so I get this kind of side angle of all the parts, I can then go over to that and it'll update this current view right here. Before we get into anything else, I'm going to end up changing my scale. I'm going to make it 1:1, fill up this space a little bit. So right now you can see we have our assembly, but it's not exploded. So I'm going to go ahead and click here. We can either do show an exploded view or an exploded state, or we can right click and do show an exploded state. So that'll obviously take it and show the exploded view that we created in our assembly file and display it here in the drawing. So next thing I'm going to do is create the balloon callouts. That's these right here, which will create these item numbers, and it'll point to the parts and their corresponding name. So we can actually do that either manually by having the balloon button and then pressing each part, or we can do auto balloon, and then it's going to add these balloons automatically for every part in the assembly. So that looks good. We can just keep all our these default settings. I would move these around a little bit. Obviously, all we want is for this to be clean to look at. So I'm just going to clean it up a tad. As I talk about in the Linda videos, it'll be a dot if it's on a face and an arrow if it's on an edge. So just little things of that to keep in mind. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 parts, but right now we don't know what these numbers are corresponding to, so we're going to go ahead and add this bill of materials. So we can go up to here, insert, tables, bill of materials. We want it for this right here. Again, we're just going to stick with the default SolidWorks has to offer right now. I'm going to go ahead and check that. And then here we are, and we're going to end up putting this in the bottom right over here. And like I said, we're keeping it real simple. We're going to go ahead and delete this description column. And we're just going to keep the item number. This is part number. We're going to go ahead and change that to part name. So we'll have item number, part name, and quantity. Obviously, in your final assemblies for your project 3, you guys will probably have much more parts and a lot of repeating parts. That's where this quantity tab is going to come in handy. So I'm going to go ahead and move this to the bottom right over here. I'm a little particular, so I'm going to zoom in and make sure this is snapped right in the bottom right. Cool. And then all we have to do is change our sheet format. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We've already done this before. Today is 11/5/2018. Part name. Scale, and this is always the scale that you define. This isn't something that you would ask from us. This is something that you would be correlating to the dimensions and the scale you set in your drawing. And we set it to 1:1 in the very beginning. So there we are, pretty simple week. We've got our part, we've got our balloon callouts, and we've got our bill of materials. That's all we got for you, and that's all we got for the regularly scheduled CAD for this semester. So, hope it was beneficial to you guys. Thanks everyone. Bye.